name is Wanshan.
Hi, I'm Naja.
My name is Salma.
And hello, my name is Fatin. So today we are going to discuss about who is responsible for the dengue outbreak. So what's your opinion, Emma?
Okay,
Salma?
okay. As for me, I think the government have to play an important role to prevent the dengue outbreak to continue rising in Malaysia. So the step that can be taken by the government, the first one is by doing community awareness, such as campaign, and the second, okay, and maybe the local government or state government can help the campaign that can bring up the public awareness on this dengue, and maybe they can work do some cooperation with the Ministry of Health to do the campaign, and that campaign should be set up in the public places so that all people can come and join that campaign. For example, in government offices, or maybe in the private institute and school, as their target sa- to to do that campaign. And apart from that, the government can also set up a home visit campaign where the government officer come to house in a district. For example, they can come to Kajang and do some campaign at there, and or maybe they can set up a campaign to the television, radio, or in the network, in the social network. I mean, okay. For example, like in Singapore, the government has set up a website, public website, that can teach the citizen how to prevent the dengue from continue rising, and so the citizen can log in into that website and learn many things about dengue and how to prevent it. And it was proved that in Singapore they can decrease the amount of cases or amount of dengue cases in their country. So I think the government have the most important role to this dengue dengue outbreak. Okay, so that's my point. What about you, Zakia?
You got a point there. However, in my opinion, I think that the most important role here is from the community because uh, without the community, all the plannings by the government to prevent the dengue outbreak will be in vain because that uh, for the planning to be successful, the community need to participate in those strategies that the government is planning to implement on the certain area. And for example, in Cambodia, they have a survey about water container management where uh, the officer go visit uh, the house at one area, houses at one area, and they suspect the house carefully whether it is possible that the Aedes mosquitoes is breeding uh, in the house, inside the house. But the community over there is kind of unwelcome to the officer, and they are not comfortable receiving a visitor that they don't know. So I think the community must cooperate with the government in whatsoever approach that the government want to implement in order to prevent this outbreak.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with your point because the government should work together with the community to prevent these dengue cases keep continuing. Um, so the government should go and visit more often so that the community will be welcome them like
I would
um
like to interrupt you. They'll feel like the government show some care and concern
yeah,
for
so
them.
the government should do that more often. And if someone has suspected cases of dengue fever, mosquito control officers should inspect around their house, like just like in my country and in my places. The mosquito control officers often come and do some fogging, and they do some weekly check in every house in my places. Okay, so this,
Um, I want to make a point here. Um, in your opinion, do you like strangers to come into your house every weekend to disturb you watching your television, your favorite drama?
No, I don't.
I don't think
I don't think
so.
Except
Yeah.
for the when the government is doing the fogging, I think it is acceptable for them to come into the house and fog in the house to the house. We should open the doors, the windows. But if we are expecting the government officials to come and visit every week, I think that's a bit uh, a nuisance, don't you think?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think, in my opinion, I think maybe the individual should take the responsibility to, because if you don't like the strangers to come to your home, or you maybe you just can do some work at your home. As we can see, as we can know, most of the athletes they are very strong and um, they were affected with the dengue or will be greatly reduced. As we can see, the individual should raise the awareness, should raise environmental awareness and strengthen the attention to their health. Maybe something like exercise activity and enhance immunity and prevent the emerging of the various. I think maybe that will make the people feel comfortable. So
I
what do you
agree.
think, Naja?
I know that the three of you were trying to say, I agree with your points, all of you, but I have my own point of view regarding this issue. And I think the non-government organizations, let's take World Health Organization, WHO, for
Oh yeah, of
example.
course.
And because I've read somewhere that WHO estimates that each year 50 to 100 million dengue cases is reported. So, the international effort led and supported by WHO is recommended because WHO has come up with this strategy named Global Strategy, and the goal of this strategy is to reduce the burden of dengue. And you know that WHO has also deployed teams of experts to coordinate activities at the affected areas. And not only that, um, another non-government organization such as ASEAN, ASEAN, ASEAN also have collaborated with WHO in this program. In the launching of ASEAN Dengue Day, they distributed posters about dengue awareness and flyers, and they gave small goodie bags that contain pamphlets explaining about what is dengue and what you should do about dengue. And um, it's really good to have these kind of non-government organizations to play such an quite an important role together with the government, community, and school. And I think that is all that I want to say right now. So, moving on to Fatin, you have your own opinion,
Okay,
right?
in my opinion, I think we should forget those school their roles. They have their own roles on how to control this dengue outbreak. As we all know, most of the children spend most of their time in school daily. I think the teachers should expose to the children about this dengue, maybe about the symptoms, about the Aedes mosquitoes, so that the students can gain the new knowledge and they can practice it at their home. And furthermore, schools can set up a campaign, maybe can collaborate with government, and they also can provide some competition such as fact book in order to expose about this dengue, so that the children knows what's the pros and cons about this dengue, and they know how to overcome this dengue outbreak. Is it acceptable?
yeah, that
Salma?
was a very
That
great
was a very
idea.
good point.
I think because it's much more easier to teach children because they are still new and can accept more knowledge so that they can build up their own awareness about this matter. So that and I would like to add something that the government should do some disease surveillance and research, and the government should do that to improving data for dengue control. For example, like some of cases like incident of dengue is, I mean, they have to do something to improve the patient management because um, sometimes in the government hospital, when someone come and they have a fever, they the the hospital officer doesn't inspect them to having a dengue. So they should become more aware that that fever can become more serious, like dengue fever. So they maybe can do something to improve that, to confirm that that someone is not having a dengue by a diagnosis as soon as possible as they can.
So, you mean maybe if someone have a fever and he go to the hospital, maybe if the hospital notice he have a fever, maybe do the test first
Yeah, they
if
should.
he
Yeah,
already have dengue.
they should do the diagnosis test as soon as
Diagnosis.
possible. They just can't say that you just have a
Normal
normal
fever.
fever. Yeah,
So that's why people should know the symptoms of dengue, right? Such as the
They should be aware of the
mm,
symptoms of dengue so that they know when they are having a dengue fever or a normal fever. And I'm sorry because I need to add something here. Okay, can I? Okay. And I forgot to mention that these two big organizations, World Health Organization and also ASEAN, they have they use the dengue strategic plan to develop key messages, and they deliver the messages through information, education, and communication, and also activities. And during the launching of ASEAN Dengue Day on 15 June 2011, WHO has distributed the key messages, to the health ministries in Brunei, Singapore, and Malaysia. So um, that's all I really want to
I
say.
would
And
like to emphasize something here. For the community part, I think the community should be of support in the dengue prevention campaign where the community needs to help to keep their residential area clean and I mean the inside their house and around their area of the residential area, and they should also for monitor the area for possible Aedes breeding places such as a water container, a garbage bin or something like that, a tire,
it
and
means right.
I'm
Like
sorry to interrupt.
gotong royong.
Just now you said the community didn't feel uncomfortable if the government come to their house every week. So the community should uh, be responsible to
Yeah,
take
themselves,
care of
maybe they
the
can set.
environment.
surrounding
Yeah,
so
maybe they
that
can
the
set up.
government it should
Sorry.
start from an individual and to a household and to a community. So
Yeah.
it gets bigger and bigger. So the community needs to encourage the individuals in their area to take part in preventing the dengue outbreak.
Okay. So, anyone have any other ideas?
No, I think that's all.
Yeah, so according to our discussion, we think the government should play the most important role in about the dengue break, and the community should support the government's effort to overcome dengue outbreak. But at the same time, everyone should know their responsibility and show their cooperation, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with
it's
you.
Yeah,
we find the
Okay.
conclusion.
yeah.
Okay.
That
Okay,
was
that's
a great discussion, and
yeah,
thank you.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Okay, that's all.